Good morning, and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early AF at 4:45 a.m. on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel and 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. We're talking today about power. This is a three-part show on power. Began yesterday in the evening. So thanks for being here. If you are new, you can go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about us. We speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy. I should also say a few words about myself. This is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher, author of the New York Times bestseller Raising Fences, author of the acclaimed historical novel Americas, author of the recently Pulitzer Prize nominated Animating Black and Brown Liberation, a Theory of American Literatures. Guys, I should also say I'm the board president of the World Stage, great nonprofit here in LA's Crenshaw District. My educational background is UC Berkeley as an undergrad, master's, UCLA, PhD in English Lit from the University of California at Riverside. Guys, I am an expert at being productive. I don't say that to brag or boast. I say it because people are almost always surprised to hear about this level of productivity, given how crazy my own personal narrative is. I am the product of a young girl who was sexually assaulted at age 16 in a horrific story, gave birth to me at 17, and subsequently gave me, as a result of that assault, and gave me up for adoption to an amazing single divorcee at the time, when I was a month old at that time. At the time, there were no biological father, no adopted father. Listen, difficult times for the young MD, as cool Modi famously said. How you like me now? And if I can be this productive and be so through joy, we know many people can as well, of course, in their own way, in their own lane, which is what really inspires this show, because we know it's not where you're from. It is where you're about to go. So thanks for being here, guys. Let's dive into today's topic. We're talking about power today. This is part two of our three-part show on power. And point one is that power is contagious. And we oftentimes hear about that in the negative. You know, if you were around any news outlets. I don't have a TV, but at times I'll check in through my laptop. I happened to see the incredibly disturbing news conference yesterday where 45 claimed that he was the king of America and that he has total authority, which, of course, if you know from ninth grade, sixth grade civics, that the 10th Amendment, of course, gives those rights to the states to determine their own uh, their own basic rights in terms of governing themselves, except where it may, of course, violate the individual rights of others, as in slavery. But it's pretty clear that the president is not a king. And so I was thinking about that. Wow, that's why people are have so many bad feelings or so much discomfort around power, because when people get power, they do what 45 is doing right now, claiming to be a king. He said that he has total authority. It was pretty frightening, because he actually believes that. And the vice president, he used to be a governor. He was the governor of Indiana. Knows, of course, that's not true. But the governor got up there and defended him and actually said that what he said was true. It was extraordinary. So that's why we know people are discomfited when they think about power and how power operates in people's minds. But so power is contagious in a way that can be negative, but also in a way that can be positive, right? But point one, it is true that power is contagious. Well, how do we make power contagious, a contagion that is good, that is positive, right? Well, you do that by exemplifying using your own power to do good. Using your own power to do good. I'll say it one more time. Using your own power to do good. I recall I had a good friend of mine, John Thomas. John was such a beautiful cat. I mean, would just really serve people and give, and such a humble brother, just amazing. And I recall just those of us in a circle would see him always be about service, always being about other people, and it really, and he was a leader too. And that inspired the people around him to do the same thing, to be about service. His example was so inspirational. His personal power and service was so inspirational that it inspired us to be about service as well. I mean, it was, and that, of course, then we infected each other with that particular service. Yeah, I'm so moved by that. The idea that power in a good way can be contagious. In my latest book, I talk about this idea that when people are engaged in activist work as an acting, which is a concept, a notion by the French theorist Bruno Latour, talks about how an acting is a person who has efficacy, or a thing that has efficacy can get things done. And that I couple that particular part of the book with a discussion of James Cone, the great theologian, who talks about the spirit that can has the power to move through a congregation. And in many ways, that's how, as a liberatory contagion, as a contagion in a good way. And so that particular idea is what I'm talking about here. The idea that power can be a good contagion when it's based upon service and justice, which goes right into point 3. When you begin to live an inspirational personal life in public, especially, and people see you living that life, they consider that as an option. Especially if you can accrue benefits from it, meaning you're joyful, you're happy, you're having success financially in other ways. It makes it okay, to be about serving other people, and it makes it attractive. Too often the powerful people. I mean, I think a lot of us are a little. I mean, we've been alarmed about the president for a while, to be honest, but it's getting to a point now. I mean, he doesn't really seem to be well. He doesn't seem to be well. Like, something's wrong. I mean, we know something's wrong, but like beyond what we knew was wrong. And the guy is the most powerful person literally in the world. So again, that example frightens people, and it makes people leery about power, because power can, in the wrong hands, be very destructive. So, and not to make this too much about 45, but I was just so struck by the news conference I saw yesterday that I think a lot of people are concerned when they say that he had total authority of the country, like Putin, like certain aspects of the Chinese government. I mean, although he critiques these people, not Putin, Putin's his boy, but he seems to want to be a totalitarian leader, and the folks on his side of the aisle are not checking him at all. So we need to be the checks by using power for good. Boom goes the dynamite. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces.